Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. Today I'm going to the UK. Well, he's actually from Northern Ireland, but he's in the UK at the moment. He is, of course, Mark Hamilton, and he's from the epic 90s and onwards band, Ash. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great. I just got out of bed and I was just telling you I was putting the washing out in the line and I was a little bit late for the interview, but I'm here now.
Yay. And your backdrop is amazing. What has inspired your backdrop today?
So I guess during the pandemic I got really into Dungeons and Dragons with a bunch of friends, and it was a really good way of getting through the pandemic. And it's just been my Zoom background ever since.
I love it. It's amazing. So, let's first of all, let's talk about your brand new album that's come out. It's called Race the Night. It's incredible. I'm actually playing it in the other room just at the moment. I've just turned it down so we can do this interview. But Race the Night, and obviously one of the singles from Race the Night is actually called Race the Night, which is an incredible song. How has the new album been received?
It's been good, and it actually came out almost a year ago in the UK, and it
Yep.
was the first started in the UK for like 15 years or something crazy. It went top. It actually went top. It went number five in actual physical sales. You know, not downloads and streams, but actual sales,
Yep.
which was great. And it was top 20 in the overall chart. Um, so that was nice for us to sort of like be, feeling loved again, like into that level by the public in general. And then we went out on tour with it, went all over the UK, really great tour, toured Europe as well, and we're just about to then now start. We're coming out to Singapore, then Australia, New Zealand,
Yeah.
and I think earlier today we just announced another big tour in the UK.
Holy moly.
Um, yeah, we're actually going to go out and support with the Darkness in April, which should be amazing.
Incredible. Like seriously, because you guys formed in 1992,
Yeah,
which I mean, obviously you were very, very young at that point.
yeah, we were like 15.
Yeah, wow.
Like 15 was whenever Ash started. Tim and I were in a band before that. We started our first band. We were like 11 years old.
Yeah, wow.
Um, um, and then Rick, our drummer, came in and we renamed the band and sort of like had a fresh start when we were 15. And and then by the age of like 17, I think we got signed. So it was, once we changed to Ash, things sort of started to take off quite quickly.
Because in 1994, the first album came out, which was, of course, as you would know, Trailer. Um, Amazing. And then everything's just skyrocketed from then, didn't it?
Yeah, trailer came out and we were still at school. We were
Yeah,
still in
wow.
high school, and we actually held back one of the singles, which blew up, called "Girl from Mars." We kept that because we thought, oh, there's something about the song. We want to wait until we're done with school,
Yep.
and then the year that we were out of school, I mean, that summer, whenever school was finished, and we released that song, and then things just blew up. And then the first proper album, first full album came out, soon after that. That was called 1977, and it went to number one in the UK and in Ireland and platinum everywhere. And then that allowed us to tour the world and come to Australia for the first time. And yeah, it was great.
So how many times, Mark, have you been able to tour Australia so far?
It's a lot. I don't know. I haven't counted the amount of times, but I'm going to say it's got to be close to double figures.
Yeah, wow, good. Good. And you've had over 10 albums now. I mean, you've had some live albums, you've had obviously some best of albums, but essentially about 10 studio albums, which is like incredible. How do you find, so since starting off with your very first album back in the 1994 period, to now, how do you find producing music these days compared to the 90s?
Um, it's not necessary to be going to like thousands of dollars a day studios, because technology has changed so much now that if you've got like good microphones and some good preamps, you can go anywhere and record absolutely anywhere, in a shed, in a farm, or wherever.
Yep.
And want to go to somewhere like that if you want to get a particular drum sound or whatever. And then things like the guitars and vocals can be done in cupboards basically. I mean, it's not. I think there's a much more of a DIY ability to do things by yourself.
Yep.
So like for example, tomorrow I'm getting the train down to London, and I'm recording bass for 2 days. And all the drums were recorded in Scotland in a barn. And Rick's already done the drums, and then I'll be doing the bass, and then he's got like a little mix studio in London, tiny little thing, it's like the size of a room cupboard, and he'll do all the vocals in there, and then it'll go off to get mixed by Claudius, who's mixed all of our stuff for years.
Yep.
And so like it's much, yeah, I don't know, it's a little bit different. I think the technology allows things to be made cheaper, and then also more sporadically. I don't. Yeah, but we do all the writing together. We get in a room, practice, play all the songs, work it all out, and then we're able to sort of like do the rest individually.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, the way that the music is put out these days is different as well. You know, back in the days of the 90s, you know, it was obviously the CDs, you know, now, I mean, you know, now it's obviously Spotify and all that. And, you know, it means making the money in this industry now, you know, you need to do things different ways. But I guess that's all part of the waves that we ride. So what would you say, like, with, you know, when you were first starting out in the 90s, you know, the way that you defined yourself as a band, do you call yourself or define yourself in a different way that when you're producing the music these days, or do you consider the same the same signature kind of music that you do now back from the 90s?
I mean, I think we always sort of like think of ourselves as sort of an indie rock, sort of like pop punk kind of band, that kind of thing.
Yep.
But that doesn't make us. We've never felt constrained, sort of like fit within the genre. So we will try different stuff.
Yep.
Like we did the we called it the A to Z singles. Did that around 2008, I think it was, or 2010. Well, that was 26 singles we put out in 1 year, and
Yeah.
every song was completely different from the previous. And like, you know, production wise, and we were having fun with that. And we're actually, well, I can't really announce it yet, but like next year we're
Yep.
going to be putting out multiple releases again, and production will be very different on them. So just to give people, you know, different flavors of you know what Ash is.
I love it. Mark, going back to the early days in the 90s period, who were you all listening to, or who were you individually listening to?
In the early 90s, we were listening to, well, as whenever we were children and kids, we were listening to a lot of metal stuff.
Yep.
So Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica, just bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers. We were listening to basically any band that Kerrang used to cover,
Yep.
or Bangers Ball on MTV. We'd be into all of it.
Yep.
And then kind of the crunch. But we were also trying to play that music, and it was very intricate and hard and technical.
Yep.
But we just weren't good enough to play it. And then Nirvana came along, and it was the whole punk scene, and that was the first time we'd really been exposed to punk music, and we were just like, this is like life changing. This is awesome. So, and also we could play it. It was like, oh, this is actually quite simple. We can play that. Yeah. So that was revolutionary for us, and I guess the sound changed, and that was also around the time that our drummer came in, and we changed the name to Ash, and that. And so I guess more of the bands like, you know, Mudhoney, Pixies, Nirvana, that then became what we were listening to.
I mean, Mark, I mean, what you guys have done as a band has been legendary. I mean, you've created an incredible legacy, you know, with, you know, your career already, and it's not even over. But who are people that you're looking at these days, you know, contemporary artists that are really inspiring you and thinking, you know what, you guys have got something going on?
We try to bring out bands that we really admire on tour. There's a great band from the UK called Indoor Pets, and they remind me of, like, I guess like Weezer, but they're heavier.
Yeah.
But that really sort of like geeky, nerdy vocal kind of thing going on. Really melodic, and their shows are just wild. I tell you one band that I'm kind of like really impressive, or isn't an artist, I was a huge fan of a band called the Palma Violets. I don't know if you saw them, knew
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
They're from London as well, but they split up a few years ago. But then their bass player, who was one of the most incredible, sort of like had the most incredible stage presence I've ever seen, he's now become a solo artist. Guy called Chili Jensen, and he's putting out stuff. It's more pop. It's more pop and more maybe synth, and he's singing on it. And I just been getting into that recently. Really good. And he's also been playing. I think he's been standing in on bass for uh, Fontaine's DC, and like been doing a lot of touring with them around the world, who are another great Irish band. So, um, yeah, I mean, and then there's a lot of really good Irish bands. You got Fontaine's DC, you got the Murder Capital, you've got Kneecap blowing up now with their movie. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out of Ireland.
Mark, 4 decades into your career now, which is huge, obviously. And what my next question is going to be, you know, there's probably going to be a lot of incredible moments that you've experienced, but what's one of your proudest moments, or what's one of your favorite awards that you've received? What's something that you're really proud of?
I guess, I mean, we get asked, whenever we get asked questions, I guess we always tend to go for the being involved with the Good Friday Agreement, which was like this massive, massive moment in sort of like Northern Irish history, which helped solidify and sort of the peace process and make things move forward. Um, and we were, I guess, if you wanted to look at it cynically, you could say we were used as a pawn in the process, which we were completely fine with. But the ultimately the end goal, the result of it was that a lot of youth folk got out, and us and U2 put on this huge concert in Belfast, and the referendum went through, and there was obviously, you know, setbacks to the peace process, but that was pivotal in making things go forward. And Northern Ireland has actually been quite unrecognizable from before and after. So, I mean, been a lot of like, I mean, people growing up now don't really know what the troubles were, but it was very different. So that was like a really important thing to be in part of for us.
Mark, what is it about the music industry that you enjoy most of all, personally, not as a band, but personally?
Traveling, just getting to travel the world, meet new people, hanging out in festivals. You know, we get to do like this summer alone. We did like I think it was 15 festivals.
Yeah, wow.
And, you know, one day would be in a fjord in Norway, and then the next day would be on Alex James from Blur's farm in the Cotswolds.
Yeah, wow.
Just that kind of variety, and you know, not knowing where you're going to be, you know, what you're going to bump into. Like for example, when we were on that farm, just hanging out backstage, and there's Simon Pegg and talking to him about Star Wars for a while. That's, you know, just that, not really knowing what the next day is going to bring is awesome.
Mad. And you know what? Isn't that the way we should all live our lives anyway? Like, you know
Yeah,
what? Every day is an open slather, whatever goes on.
yeah, definitely.
Now, let's talk about the tour. It's called Ash, you know, the singles tour.
Right.
We are doing Sunday, the 6th of October in Perth, 8th of October in Adelaide, which is where I am. I'm looking forward to seeing the show at the Gov. Then it's 10th of October in Brisbane, 11th of October in Melbourne, 12th of October in Sydney. Mark Hamilton, what can we expect from the tour? Obviously, it's going to be the singles tour because that's what it's called. But what can we expect energy-wise?
Sometimes you just have to call a tour what someone else wants it to be called, but we'll be but we'll be, you know, we'll be doing all the hit singles that people won't expect to hear, which is
Yep.
kind of what, you know, it's being tagged. But we also be aware that we're coming with a new album, and we'll be playing a bunch of songs off that.
Yes.
Not we're not going to bore you with like playing the entire set of new songs, but we're going to play stuff which we know is actually quite instant and like dynamic live, so that even if you've never heard it before, you're still going to enjoy it. And then all the other hits as well. So it'll be great. And I think you're in Adelaide.
Adelaide, yes. Yep.
Okay, the Gov. So yeah, we've played it a bunch of times, I think, in the past. So I mean, we just bring it on. We bring it 100% every time we come. So it'll be, if you before and you liked us before, it'll be more of the same, but hopefully, you know, even better. I don't know.
Mark, you said a word just a few sentences ago. You said, you're not going to bore us. I can guarantee the word ash has never bored anybody. You know what? There's no way possible that you could ever do a show and bore anybody. I promise you. I know that for a fact. You know what? Whether you're doing the new album, whether you're doing the old albums, it's going to be totally engaging, and you bring the energy every single time. So I'm so looking forward to it.
Thanks, man.
Mark Hamilton, of Ash, thank you so much for your time, and cannot wait to see you here in Adelaide, and obviously all the best for an incredibly successful tour of Australia.
Thank you. Can't wait to get back there. I think we've only got like a couple of weeks and we'll be there.
I know, right? October is not
Yeah.
far away. Seriously, you're going to be buying me a Christmas present before we know it.
I know. Actually, I'll have to buy it here and bring it because the exchange rate everything's so expensive in Australia. It's crazy.
Everything's expensive right now.
Yeah.
Mark, you're a legend. I cannot wait to catch up with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.